shelter, as a shield. But he is continuing now as he goes into Woodland Hills.
Picking up speed at that. We're not sure how fast this guy's been going, but for our welcome, we want to welcome our CBS viewers, by the way. You are watching a pursuit that is happening in the Valley area, Woodland Hills, as a matter of fact, on the 101 westbound.
But he is continuing now as he goes into Woodland Hills.
Picking up speed along the freeway with LAPD units following close behind.
But it's obviously a white van, but if you take a close look at it, it looks like it has new plates, maybe dealer plates, because those are green. They're not. That's not a California license plate, so one would wonder whether, without a license plate, it makes it difficult for the police to run the plate and to find out who owns the car. Yeah. So we don't really now that's another factor that police have to consider.
The information we're getting, very little at this time. What we do know is the LAPD got a report of a man armed with a gun, and then a chase started. We just don't know exactly the origins, but we do know that this has been going on. It's been going on the 101 freeway in the Valley area.
Okay, going through Hidden Hills. He's probably at this point just about in Agoura Hills, and he's getting off the freeway. Guys,
do you think this is Shoup Avenue?
No, I think we're beyond that.
Beyond that now?
Maybe we can find out, or the camera will be able to zoom in. All right, now this is a whole nother game. It's good in one respect, in that if they wanted to do a pit maneuver, this is a place they could do it, and that's the pursuit intervention technique where they spin the guy around. But it's also a problem because he has many, many more options when he's on surface streets. And I'm saying he. We don't know that it's a man, but we think it's a man. I'm sorry. All right, now he's going on Ventura Boulevard, so he's heading back the direction he came. Ventura Boulevard parallels the 101.
And driving through Fallbrook, I'm told.
Okay, all right, that makes sense.
This is more of a concern for the officers there who are in pursuit of this driver, because we are on surface streets. You never know, who you can run into. The pedestrians on the streets, other cars. It's a lot riskier.
Well, and what they're going to do here too, and this is even though the North Hollywood units who started the pursuit may not be as familiar with the West Valley, they'll call in West Valley Traffic Division and they'll ask those guys to help them out. This is also an area where West Valley Traffic can come in, do a little predicting, and lay out a spike strip.
And it looks like he's paying attention to the lights, which is odd. Because in these cases, they're usually blowing past these lights. But it looks like he's paying attention.
Yeah, it's not so much that he's trying to lose them or get away. What he's really trying to do is just forestall the inevitable, which is being arrested. And we also have to realize that, this is both a public safety issue. That's why we bring this to you. So if this is happening in your area, we don't want you to go out. But also, it's an issue of possibly even the man's safety inside. We don't know if he's troubled. We don't know, maybe he's in despair. Just because he has a gun doesn't mean he's necessarily intending to shoot anybody. But the police certainly have to take that into consideration, and that's why they're holding back. Once again, slowing down.
This pursuit hasn't been going very fast, I should say. He's probably scrambling to try to figure out what he's going to do next.
It's kind of an interesting traffic pattern there as he kind of, he's coming up to a stoplight and he's trying to figure out.
I think the drivers are trying to move away from him and pull over so that he has the space to go around them, and that's what he's doing.
That's exactly. Now he's back to Shoup as he passes that Shell station there. You see cars in the opposing lanes. There was somebody out. They've been stopped by police officers. As long as he stays on Ventura Boulevard, we're going to lose him as he gets under the overpass there. There he is.
Yeah, he can actually go back on the freeway right here, and this is what he's going to do. And he's headed eastbound on the 101.
All right, so getting off the freeway was obviously not planned. Very often, and we've reported on these so many years, we tell you that, and police tell us, that a driver who is freaking out, basically, he goes to a place that he knows, tries to maybe find a friend's house or tries to find somebody where he can get around and get out of the car. That wasn't the case here, because he got off in the West Valley, didn't appear to know where he was, and got back on and said, I better go back to where I started this thing.
I think he got lost. he might have gotten lost.
Well, yeah, and I would say from a decision-making standpoint, that's already the case. So now he's back on the eastbound, or should say southbound, 101. We say it's east-west because in this section of Southern California, it goes east-west. It's technically a north-south freeway. And it's anybody's guess where this guy goes. Started once again in North Hollywood area. And we're still trying to get more information from headquarters downtown Los Angeles as to how, whether it's a stolen car. We don't even see that it's a stolen car. We know that it appears to, if I was right about that license plate, it's a new car, or it's a...
there he stopped, right in the middle of the freeway there.
Yeah, right in the middle of the freeway.
That's interesting. That's an interesting move there.
If you're just joining us on CBS 2 News and KCAL 9 News, this is Jeff Michael along with Sharon Tay. We've been following a pursuit that hasn't lasted that long. It's that white van started in the North Hollywood area, and police were told that there is a man with a gun in that car. A lot of times, by the way, it doesn't mean that. It could mean someone calls them and says, hey, my boyfriend just jumped in our car and he took the gun. I'm worried about him. It could be that, nebulous as far as information goes. Doors are back open. That's probably about, I'm going to say about 50, 75 feet. They're keeping their distance. They can't see inside the van because it's got tinted windows, at least not from that distance. At
one point, they probably made contact with him, started a conversation, and he decided to change his mind. And you see him pulling away there, picking up speed.
Or at least they tried to.
It almost seems like he's taunting them.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think what you have to consider in a case like this is it's very possible that he has a cell phone. It's possible that someone knows who's in that car, and that someone may give police his cell phone number. And then what happens is negotiators call, and they just try to talk him down. They just try to calm him down and ask him what he needs, what he wants. Where does he want to go? We're not going to hurt you, and that's the tactic. Doesn't always work, and we're not positive that that's what's happening. But those are the options that the LAPD has when they're following.
All right, just a reminder that you are watching breaking news happening in the Woodland Hills area, pursuit happening. This is the early edition of CBS 2 News at 11 a.m. We're also simulcasting this on KCAL 9. Breaking news, a pursuit underway in the Woodland Hills area. We're getting reports from the LAPD that they are chasing with a man possibly armed with a gun. And he has been going at erratic speeds. It hasn't been...
But not high.
But not high,
no,
yeah.
Not high speeds.
It's been rather moderate, and he just came back on the freeway from the surface streets there on Shoup Avenue, I believe.
And let's keep in mind, even though it's not, morning rush, this is still a very, very busy freeway just on a normal day. I'm not sure how that truck got on there, but what they're doing a great job of blocking the entrances. So what they're doing is radioing ahead and saying, hey,
really
stop, block everybody on Winnetka. Don't let anybody get on at Winnetka. And they've done that. So now they have this guy can't hurt anybody because, except for maybe the oncoming traffic.
They're doing a great job in keeping the traffic back. I mean, look at that. They've literally cleared the freeway.
Right, they have, because they're right behind him. They can't do that as well on the northbound lanes, but now that he's on the southbound lanes, he's now heading back out of Woodland Hills. He'll be heading toward Encino, and you just never know where. Now, California Highway Patrol, the CHP, no, that guy just sped right past him.
Okay, maybe they haven't closed the freeway. Maybe the traffic is light.
No, it isn't closed, but I think they're doing their best.
Okay.
All right, so we're back in Tarzana.
It seems like he's going in circles. It's a car, or is it a minivan?
It looks like a van. It's a van or a crossover.
With paper plates?
Yeah, I believe it is. I mean, we're not in tight enough to see them, but they were green, and it's either a used car or a new car. Maybe one of our auto experts in the newsroom can figure that out. Now you see, we were talking about weather earlier today. There's the kind of the low marine layer, or the remnants of the storm system we had coming through. That not only obscures our picture, but also keep in mind the LAPD is flying over this as well. Yeah. So they have to try to keep track of him while they're going through the clouds.
Yeah, very difficult here. Doesn't seem like he's going very fast.
No, no, he's not.
Yeah.
He's
probably going the speed limit.
If that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really kind of an indecision issue. I mean, he's, you know, that guy. If that guy on the right is going the speed limit, then this guy's doing about the same thing. Yeah, now we're back to Encino. He has an option coming up. I mean, he always has an option. He can get off at any of the exits, but he also can take the 405. It's coming up very quickly, and if he does take the 405 south, that puts him into a lot more traffic than he's in right now.
He'll run into the 10 freeway from the 405.
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah, eventually, and it's going to be pretty crowded at this time of day at 10:30 in the morning. Traffic is pretty bad there, but it looks like he's staying put. He's staying on the 101. Not sure what he's going to do. He seems to be going around in circles. Started in the North Hollywood area, and then moved up to Woodland Hills, and then now back up to the Encino area.
There's another van, very similar, that he's passing. He hasn't done, we want to stress, he hasn't done anything that we have seen that is threatening. He hasn't hit anybody. He hasn't cut anybody off, really. He just tried to get through a little bit of traffic when he got off out in Woodland Hills and then got back on the freeway. But now, you see, these two drivers, knowing that there's no traffic behind them and there are 5 LAPD units in their rearview mirror, why would you drive right up next to the car that they're chasing? It kind of defies me. I mean, or defies common sense. Yeah. There you can get a little bit of a tighter shot. You see where I was talking about the green license plate in the back.
We're not sure.
Very tinted windows.
Yes, exactly. We are not sure whether there's more than one person in the car. We only know that of course the driver. Yeah. The driver. We haven't been. We think it's a man.
Yep,
we believe
it's
a man.
To be a man.
Okay, that's good. But we don't know if there's a passenger, children in the car. Gosh, I hope not.
Well, and
in cases like this, you never know.
Those questions you raise, all those speculation, are the same questions that officers have to ask themselves if they don't know. Mm-hmm. So that's why, you know, I mean, there's nothing worse than, you know, not having enough information to be able to make a tactical move as a police department. Right now, what's happening is there's a lieutenant or a captain who is back at probably North Hollywood Division monitoring this, but then you also have a sergeant, I'm going to guess a sergeant or a lieutenant, back in that trailing cadre of cars as well. So that person is calling the shots as to what we do or what they do. And now they're slow. Oh, the traffic's just slowing down.
They're getting close to the 405.
Well, if he's going to take it, he's in the wrong lane.
Yeah.
Moved over to the number 1 lane just to keep going. Not going much faster than traffic. Traffic not going very fast either. Mm-hmm. The open freeway that I speculated was because they were closing off the on-ramps. No longer the case. Now there are quite a number of people on the Hollywood freeway, or the Ventura freeway at this point. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't look, if he's getting as close as I think he is to the 405, it looks like he's going to continue into Sherman Oaks and then Studio City, where our studios are here in Studio City.
In case you're just joining us, you are watching a pursuit that's in progress along the 101 freeway. This is happening in Encino. Police are in pursuit of a man they believe is armed with a gun. We're not sure whether this car was stolen, but it does have paper plates, and it is traveling at a normal rate of speed.
Yeah, that's just, I think, indicative of somebody who just doesn't know where they're going to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
And once again, not trying to get away. Just trying to not be caught.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's like.
And at some point he will be, or she will be
caught.
Well,
of course, yeah. But nobody thinks clearly when they're doing this. You know, they may look down and see how much gas do I have. They may look down and, I mean, a lot of times I've reported on these where, you know, back when we had 3 strikes, it's a 3-striker, meaning that they know they're going to jail. Even if they're arrested for a traffic ticket, they're going back to jail. This doesn't seem to be or exhibit that kind of aggression. I really think this is someone who just, you know, doesn't know what to do. Mm-hmm. Now, on the other hand, if the man with the gun call is
the 101 right there,
right, is legitimate.
He just passed the 405. Yep. Well, closing
if it's legitimate, you know, I mean, there's always the possibility that he did carjacked the car or stole the car at gunpoint. You see, all these scenarios, things that we throw out there because that's the information that the police have to deal with. That looks like a CHP unit behind him, by the way.
Yeah.
A lot of times what the LAPD will do is they'll call the CHP and they'll get on there and say, guys, this is your domain. You're much better on the freeways than we are. So why don't you, come in and help us a little bit if you can. And they will do that, and then the LAPD will follow behind them. Then if he gets off, the LAPD will take over as well. But when it's car to car, the CHP, nobody's trained as well as they are.
Absolutely. They are absolutely trained. In case you're just joining us, you're watching a pursuit in progress. It seems to be staying on the 101. The pursuit of a white, I'm going to call it a minivan, because it kind of looks like a minivan with paper plates. Solo person in the vehicle that we know of, the driver, of course, and armed.
Still trying to get more information out of LAPD. Haven't been able to get that yet, so what we can do is watch and wait and find out what this guy is going to do as he moves through Sherman Oaks on the 101 southbound.
All right, traffic seems to be
it's
up a little bit. It's very light on the 101.
I was going to say it's
He's picked up speed, I think.
It's lighter than when I drive on the 101.
Okay.
I mean, so,
He's in the Sherman Oaks area
it's
now.
possible they're radioing ahead, trying to just keep it as clear as they can. Well, and obviously, you've got those 5 units, or at least, behind him. They're slowing down, a whole lot of traffic behind them. And so that does help keep it wide open.
Yeah.
Now he's, what was that? Was that right?
I missed the.
That was Van Nuys Boulevard. So
Van Nuys?
that's the second exit past the 405. And then then he goes to Woodman and Coldwater and Laurel and all these options. There's no, unless he knows the area, there's really no good reason in this part of Southern California to get off. Because if you go right, you go into the hills, you go up toward Mulholland. If you go left, you just head into a labyrinth of surface streets and traffic lights that doesn't do you any good either.
Yeah.
You move a lot better. As much as we all like to complain about it, you still move a lot better on the freeways here in Southern California than
on surface
than trying to deal with the traffic we have on surface streets.
We believe that this is a Honda Odyssey minivan. We're not sure whether it's been stolen or we don't know what the story is behind that, but we do know that it does have paper plates.
10:43, as you're watching both on KCAL 9 and CBS 2 News, we're following a pursuit. We think one guy inside. He is traveling southbound on the 101. If he goes through Studio City, now he's going to come off.
He's exiting.
That looks like that would probably be either Woodman or Coldwater.
I can't see the street sign there.
It's the second time that he's gotten off the freeway. Last time was way out in the West Valley in Woodland Hills. He didn't do very well there. He just got back on. And darn if he's not going to do the same thing now. Look at that. Takes a left. We're going to lose him for just a minute. And if he gets in that, nope, he is. He's going to go, I'll be darned. So now he's going to go north on Surface Street here.
We have
find out where he is.
We have CHP Officer Kevin Tao on the phone with us. Officer Tao, are you there?
Here.
Thank you for joining us. What can you tell us about this guy that you guys are chasing?
Well, we took over this pursuit not too long ago at about 10:40 this morning from LAPD. So at this time, we're just staying behind, basically trying to gather as much information as we can from LAPD at this time.
So, officer, I saw that it's got a green plate on the back. Is this a new car? You can't run the plate that way, right?
No, with the paper plate, we won't be able to run the plate on the vehicle.
All right. We've been told, initial information, one man possibly with a gun. Can you confirm that?
No, we are unable to confirm that, whether or not the suspect has a gun in the vehicle. However, we will approach all the pursuit with care.
Well,
okay.
but officer, if you can't confirm that, why are you chasing him?
Well, see, the thing is, this individual is not yielding to emergency vehicle, which is like a police vehicle.
Sure.
So in this situation is what we would call a failure to yield.
Yeah, failure to yield, though. So there was nothing else. I mean, I understand you have to keep some information to yourself if it's crucial, but no other information, not a stolen vehicle, not a domestic dispute.
At this time, we don't have that much information from LAPD. However, this pursuit came in as a request for assistance from the LAPD. So they failed to yield to LAPD, and then they asking for our assistance, and our goal is to help us, LAPD in trying to stop this individual.
Officer Tao, go over the protocol in terms of how you would stop a pursuit like this on surface streets.
On surface streets like this, our goal is trying to make sure that all the other motorists' safety as well is one of our concerns.
Of course.
We want to make sure that, whenever suspect vehicle is traveling on the street, that we are not putting the other motorists in danger, as well as our officer and as well as our suspect. Our goal is to have the suspect to give themselves up safely and peacefully.
Officer, there's got to be a reason, though, that you haven't performed a pit maneuver on this guy. You've had plenty of time. He's hasn't gone over 50 miles an hour, and now he's going, right within the pit limit. So can you tell us why not?
Yes, of course. I mean, before we perform any of these pit maneuvers, we want to make sure that there are no other motorists that's going to be, we're not putting their life in danger as well. Obviously, speed is a consideration. We don't want to just pit at a high rate of speed.
Sure.
We want to make sure that, aside from the speed, other motor safety is also our primary concern.
Officer Dow, can you tell me when you would use spike strips?
Spike strip can be used when again, this will be the officer on the ground in pursuit to be able to make that determination.
Okay, and I understand the parameters of what a pit maneuver requires, but what I'm talking about, and I know I'm putting you in a tough spot here, officer, because you're dealing with the media, you're not talking to the incident commander, but in this particular case, there have been plenty of times where there were no motorists around. In fact, just 30 seconds ago, no motorists around. Now you have your officers have their doors open because he's at a light. I'm assuming they have their weapons drawn. It's hard for us to see from this distance.
They're actually approaching the vehicle.
Well, until he starts to drive away. Now, officer, what's the procedure here? What are they doing?
Well, unfortunately, I won't be able to comment at this point because this looks like the LAPD has taken over the pursuit.
Because they're back on surface streets?
Right.
Okay.
They're back on surface street as LAPD's pursuit. Now they have control over the scene.
So you guys going to just go back and forth when he goes on the freeway? You take it when they go on the surface streets? LAPD gets it?
That just depends if LAPD requests our assistance.
Okay, so they're the lead agency in this.
Correct.
Who makes all the calls.
And I want to make sure, once again, I'm trying to give you some margin here because I understand you won't have all the information, but I don't want people at home to think that when the LAPD starts working with the CHP that they don't give you information. They do give you information right away, right?
They give us whatever information they have.
They have, yeah.
Yes, the best information that they have. Again, we're working with limited information. We just took over this pursuit, and it looks like very briefly from 10:40 this morning, and then we give it right back to LAPD in less than 10 minutes.
Can you tell us how fast this guy has been going? Can you tell us that much?
How fast?
Yeah, he's been going on the freeways and on surface streets. Can you tell us the speed?
Well, when we had the pursuit at about 10:40 this morning, and the suspect was traveling roughly about 55 miles per hour.
Okay, so he was going the speed limit, roughly.
Right.
Okay.
So is it possible you're dealing with a despondent driver, or do you believe you're dealing with someone who's trying to get away on a warrant or get away, is someone who's a criminal?
We don't know the suspect, and nor do we know what his state of mind is. What we can do is we do our best to try and terminate this pursuit as peacefully as we can, and we want to apprehend the suspect.
Of course, of course.
Officer Kevin Dow, thank you so much for joining us, taking the time out to talk to us about this pursuit. Okay, in case you're just joining us right now, you're watching a pursuit in the Van Nuys area, I believe. Yeah, Van Nuys area.
Yep.
This is on Oxnard Boulevard. He just passed the orange line a few minutes ago. This is a driver we believed is armed. He is driving a Honda Odyssey, what looks like a Honda Odyssey minivan. And he's been going the speed limit. He's been going on surface streets, and then he was on the freeway, the 101 for a time, and now he's back on surface streets. We believe this is Valley Glen.
Yeah, or he's heading north on some street. He's going to be, he's in Valley Glen probably, I would imagine. there've been so many name changes over the years, but he's
staying
not.
put.
And now look how far back. Okay, now this is interesting. Look
He's
how far
keeping his
back the
distance.
LAPD is. If they're as far back as I think they are, because I don't see them,
Yeah, I
then
don't
this
see
is
them.
what they call a follow. And what the incident commander is saying is, hey, you know what? This isn't working. Let's try to do this. Let's let the helicopter follow him for a while. We'll stay back where we're not, raising his blood pressure, and see if maybe we can get him to do something a little bit more sane.
Looks like he has his brake lights on. Not quite sure. Yes, he's stopping right in the middle of the road there.
He never pulls over.
It's almost as if he's waiting for the police officers to catch up to him.
It's
He's
odd. He's
odd
on
behavior.
Fulton, so if any of you watching us right now live in that part of the valley, this is Fulton. I'm probably sure we're up around Sherman Way at least. We'll try to get that for you. Not a good time to go out. Not a good time to hop in the car and go do your grocery shopping. Let this be finished first. Now they've gone from the follow, so the units slowly move up. They say, okay, maybe this guy wants to talk. The doors are going to open. And watch this guy. He's going to pull away again. Yep.
Must be frustrating for them.
Yeah, it really is.
It must be. I mean, it's like it's taunting. It's taunting the police officers. there.
Well, and that's why what they try to
There
do,
he
I
goes,
mean,
picks up speed.
the old expression, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Officers know, all right, this isn't working. So let's try something different. That's why they pulled back and thought, okay, well, maybe we got something there. There's somebody who's standing out on the sidewalk, probably watched it on TV and thought, hey, let me go out and see this guy. Not a good idea, everybody.
Yeah, it doesn't seem
Not
like
a good idea.
And he doesn't seem to be trying to get away. He's just rolling along the street, stopping, waiting for police officers to catch up, and then pulling away.
If our assignment desk can get a cross street for us, we want to keep you updated. I can't read that.
I can't either.
We want to keep, is that Roscoe? We want to keep you updated
see.
on the location
And he's paying attention to traffic lights.
to the point of
not
not even turning right on a red.
Right. Like I said, I think he's waiting for the police officers to catch up to him.
Oh, he's at Sherman. All right, so is it Fulton and Sherman? Okay. All right, so he's going to head toward the 170 if he takes a right. He's in the right turn lane, and since he hasn't busted any, traffic laws so far, I'm going to guess he's going to turn right.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, if you know you're going to get arrested, might as well blow a light or two. I mean, it's like why bother?
Why bother?
Now that looks like is that window open now?
Yeah, it looks like he
Now it just
rolled
went
it
back.
down and
It
then
looks
went
like it
back
just went back up.
Yeah.
The van, it has tinted windows. If you ever wonder why you get pulled over, or when you do get a traffic ticket, the officer writes you up for tinted windows, it's because it's for their safety. They get scared when they have to walk up on a car that they can't see into. And that's why, you go to the aftermarket shops and you get your windows tinted there because the dealerships don't want to do that.
Okay, he's just rolling along.
All right, so he took a right on Sherman Way. Should be coming up. There is an on-ramp to the 170.
This is North Hollywood, back where he started.
Yeah, this is exactly in the area where he started.
He's been going around in circles.
I kind of have an idea that if, like they say, past performance is the best indicator of future performance. Mm-hmm. I think the guy's going to get back on the freeway because he seemed to be more willing to do that. I mean, it's the same kind of guessing that the LAPD would do.
He's just
now he stopped right there in the middle. Okay, there is no rhyme or reason to the way this guy's moving.
No. I think he's trying to figure out what to do next because there are cars ahead of him. These police officers must be just so frustrated.
Well, the one thing that's fairly certain, I mean, he's not trying to do anybody else harm, but at this point, going through his mind, it's all about him.
Yeah.
He's trying. I mean, he is there. I can't imagine how many things this guy's trying to sort out. And is obviously agitated. Now,
he's approaching Coldwater Canyon.
Okay. And he's moving over to the right.
Stuck behind a Jack-in-the-Box truck.
There's some road construction there. You see the orange cones. That only frustrates things more.
Oh, that's a sign. I'm sorry. That's a Jack in the Box. I thought that was a truck.
See, he's just waiting like everybody else. Now you think the other drivers next to him, they're thinking, what are all those cop cars doing behind me?
Yeah.
And then you start looking around and you go, I know it's not.
Wait, we're getting reports that somebody may have gotten out of the car. No, that was a camera. That was a cameraman.
That was a camera person.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't see any.
It's hard to
doors
see.
opening.
There's just a lot of signs obscuring our way. He can very well get on the 170, right? At this point.
Well, I haven't seen him cross
170.
under it, so he should be able to. But at this speed, you know, I mean, he's the one guy in Southern California who has clear road in front of him, and he won't go fast.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, at this speed, it's taking him forever just to get to the freeway. And I'm not being, you know, I'm not being flip about this. I think that it goes to the confusion about what he wants. You know, I mean, why? And now the CHP officer that we were talking to, Kevin Tao, you know, he said it was a failure to yield to the LAPD. So in other words, that means if they try to pull you over, maybe it's because of that green license plate and they didn't think that was legit, and you don't stop, all of a sudden you start a pursuit. And it's up to the LAPD to decide how many cars are going to follow you and why. But we have that other information that came to us from the LAPD that there was a call or he was wanted as a man with a gun.
Oh, now he just sped away. He picked up speed and is well on his way. Maybe he's decided to, no.
Is this the freeway entrance?
I'm not sure. I was just going to say.
I think so. Oh, he went over the freeway.
Okay, he went over it. Okay.
Yeah, this is a game of patience by the LAPD, a game of patience by the CHP if he gets back on the freeway. It's, you know, you're sitting at home, you're thinking, well, in fact, I asked the officer, I said, well, why don't you do the pit maneuver? Why don't you spin him around? And all of you are probably, you know, some people say, well, why don't you just shoot out the tires? They don't do that. The point is, if he's not hurting anyone and he hasn't shown an inclination to put anybody else in danger, then they want to be content to just not provoke him.
Just follow him.
And follow him. And they have to take into consideration, as I said earlier when we picked this up, that he may be the one who is despondent. All right, he's moving into a right lane, which is going to be a right turn.
On Laurel Canyon Boulevard.
Laurel Canyon.
This is North Hollywood.
And Laurel Canyon will parallel the 170, and it'll take him right down to Ventura Boulevard.
Yeah, 170 is pretty clear this time of day. So if he decides to get on it, he could very well.
It would be great if our chopper could get around to the front. This is the only window in the whole van that isn't tinted. You can't tint your front windshield. And that's where the LAPD chopper is paying attention, by the way. The LAPD chopper has to circle, but what those officers in there do, they look through the front windshield because that's where they can see his hands. And that's what they want to know. He has one hand on the wheel, but does it look like there's... No, I don't see anybody. Nope, nobody in the passenger seat. I'm sorry, I'm looking over here because I have a bigger TV to look at, just like you do at home, and I'm looking up here because we have
It looks like just
TV
him.
too.
There's no one in the passenger seat.
No.
It just looks like him. He seems to be just moving about with his hands and not sure what he's doing. I saw him rolling down the window a little bit and then sticking his hand out a couple of times, but I don't know what he's trying to do, who he's talking to.
At this point, because we're right at the 11 o'clock hour, this is KCBS, CBS 2 News. We welcome you to our 11 o'clock newscast as we continue to simulcast on KCAL 9. This is the news hour that Sharon and I would normally be bringing you the news of the day. This is it right now, everybody.
Yeah.
And this is what has a lot of people with the LAPD a little bit concerned.
Yeah. You're watching a pursuit that's been in progress for about a half hour, you say, maybe 45 minutes?
Yeah, about a half hour, 45
We picked it up about a half hour ago. And they're pursuing a guy in a minivan. And apparently the original call was that they wanted this guy for, apparently he was armed. He is driving a vehicle with paper plates. Not sure whether that is minivan is stolen, but he's been keeping police officers at bay, but taunting them at the same time, driving at very erratic speeds, not getting higher than 55 miles an hour.
There he is. Whoops, almost missing him
All
there.
right, he came close to clipping somebody there, but we're not exactly sure what he's doing. This started in North Hollywood, so he's back in North Hollywood.
Right, which could mean that that's the area he knows best. Why not stick in the area you know best? That's what they tend to do. Do we know what street he's on, to our producers in the booth? It looks like he's heading back west, is he? Don't know yet.
Okay. Van Owen.
Oh,
This
he's
is
on Van Owen. All right, so yeah, he's heading west on Van Owen, I believe. And our helicopter is flying up pretty high. He can't hear that. But that LAPD helicopter, it flies really low, and even with your windows rolled up, you hear that thing over you. And that's just another factor that the driver is kind of feeling as he's, anxiously driving this thing. He's at Van Owen, he comes up to an intersection, stops well before the
stop.
crosswalk.
Yes. It's as if he's waiting for the police officers to catch up to him, giving them time to catch up to him.
Or just trying to make a decision. What do I do? Do I go right or left? See, now, put yourself in the driver's seat of those cars you see below that van. They're thinking, oh my God, cops are behind this guy. I want to get away from this guy, which is exactly what you should do. You should not stick around and watch to see what the officers are going to do.
Sitting there at the intersection.
I don't even think it's a red light.
I think it's a green light
because you can see the red in the opposing direction. So he stops at a green light, figures out, do I go right or left? It's the second time that Taco Bell has been in the story.
I wonder if police officers have made contact with him on the telephone, and they're just negotiating and telling him to stop or negotiating with him in some way. I'm wondering that's why he's stopping and waiting for LAPD to catch up before he takes off again.
Well, I can tell you if they have the phone number, they're certainly trying. If they don't, then that's another box to check off that you can't do. And they really, it doesn't appear that the Los Angeles Police Department has any desire to stop this now. They could have if they wanted to. But because of the man with a gun problem, one of the problems, by the way, when you do that PIT, that pursuit intervention technique, it spins the car in a 180. And what that means is it spins him right in your direction. So now he's facing you. So as an officer, you got to think long and hard before you spin the guy, and now you're looking straight at him through the windshield where he could raise a weapon and shoot you. So it's a good technique to disorient drivers, and it works many, many times here in Southern California. But when the possibility of a firearm comes into play, it really becomes a much more difficult decision to make.
It looks like he's driving in a residential area, a lot of apartment buildings there on the right-hand side. And in most cases, in some cases, I should say, not most cases, but you see these folks return to their own homes. They go home. So who's to say that this person may not live in this area?
I've actually seen reported one time where the guy drove to a police station.
Yes, that was not too long ago.
Because they want to, have it go on record that I'm not going to get hurt here. I don't want anybody to shoot me, and so they'll go to the police station. All right, doors open again. They do this every time. This is probably about the 5th time that this has happened. He stops. They go into their standard procedure where they get out, got their weapons out, trying to talk to him, say, don't do this again. Just stay there, please.
This has happened 2 or 3 times today. At least, right?
At least. And then what has happened in the past, if you're just joining us, is he takes off again. And he always stops just behind the crosswalk, never goes up to it. He stops in the center of the freeway. The man you see walking up from the back car, that's likely the supervisor. That's the guy who's going to make the call. And the person in the back of on the left, the 713 car, is either getting out another weapon or is getting out, a shield. We're in Valley Glen. Is that what you're talking? Okay. This is the longest time that he has stopped and not started
True.
again.
Very true. Hopefully he'll stay put.
So this time we hope he
give up.
stays put.
How many police officers how many cop cars? 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. We're not sure if there's any more behind them.
Five. I got
is it
fifth,
5? You got
yeah,
5?
that's fifth in the back.
Okay, let's hope he gives up here.
We think he's at,
happening.
did you say Fulton and Sherman? Is that what you said? That we think he's, okay, believe he's at the corner of Fulton and Sherman. Sherman Way, thank you. Very often, well, in a case like this, the officers can't really walk up to the car.
No, it's too dangerous
It's
for
just
them.
too dangerous.
Yeah.
They're
They have
asking him to, they want him to roll the window down. Then what they want him to do is reach out, show both hands, and then they want him to open the door using the outside handle. And then step out of the car, and that's how it all goes down.
Backwards
That's the way it should work. There he goes. Taken off.
Yeah, he's not ready to give up yet.
No, he's not. But not crossing the intersection.
Obeying the traffic lights.
Well, you know, to an extent, he doesn't want to get hit either. I mean, that would, you know, render him useless or render his car useless. And if you're going to keep this going for hours at a time, you got to have a good car.
Okay, what street is he turning on now?
That would be Sherman Way heading
okay, there you
westbound.
go. He's going westbound on Sherman Way. The police officers got back in their units and are in pursuit. There he goes again. He stops right in the middle of the street.
Before he has to.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting watching this, all of you watching this at home, you know, let's be honest here. You're probably saying, wow, this is a boring pursuit. It is not, there is no pursuit that is boring from the standpoint of being the officers behind him. And because they still think they could be in every bit the same danger as with a guy who is driving erratically because of the unknown. You don't know what's inside that car. You don't know what his intentions are. You don't know if he wants to do officers harm, although it would seem if he did, the attempt would have happened by now.
Right, especially so because he's been reported to have a gun on him. So
that's the big deal.
You just never know.
All right, we're still in the Valley Glen area, and he's been making one giant loop. This is the longest time he's stayed on surface streets. He spent a long time on the freeway, and now probably is thinking he has more options, but in all of the decision-making he's doing, he's not really mixing it up much. He just goes slow. Looks like he's doing about 25 miles an hour, below the speed limit. There's people outside. Don't know if they're just regular people who have. Let's see the two motor officers up there. Yep, they're waiting for him.
Yeah, I'm told that this is an area with a lot of tile stores are. You see the gas station there, so it's a lot of businesses on the street.
Yeah, a lot of workers, contractors.
And outside, and
this is he's coming up to Woodman and Sherman Way, and is waiting right along with everybody else.
he's making a right.
Now he's taking a right on Woodman. He's going to...
picking up speed.
Yeah. He's going to be coming up to Saticoy next. Really, no... Well, don't know who that was. At this point, he's gone slow enough, and the LAPD, especially out here in the Valley with Valley Traffic Division, have plenty of people who could lay out a spike strip. Interesting that they haven't. Most of the traffic guys have them. They roll up. They're air inflated.
Right.
You can just throw them out, kind of like you would almost like a lasso or a whip, and it lays out on the ground.
We saw that a couple of days ago in a pursuit a couple of days ago, where the officer was who was camped out at the corner, and he just threw out that spike strip, and it happened pretty quickly too.
And I think it worked in that case.
Yeah, it did work
Because the officer then
very well.
It's deflated just before until the guy comes up, and then they inflate it.
He's slowing down again.
I think he went under Saticoy there. No, that's the tracks. I'm sorry, under the railroad tracks.
Oh, so he's decided to drive over the center median and go in the opposite direction.
The first move this man has made in almost an hour that would actually get him a ticket. I mean, he's obeyed every traffic
Pretty much,
sign, every
yeah.
traffic light, and then he pulls a U-turn over a raised median.
I wish we could see what he's doing inside of his car.
He's got green front plates too, so whether it's a new or used car, there's nothing to identify that car. And it also, that could mean that he's getting a little bit more agitated. It appears one hand on the wheel. And, you know, why make that move then? Why decide to drive your car up over a median when all you've been doing is obeying everything else? And go back in the direction you came from.
Right.
So
Maybe he just got off the phone with somebody, and
yeah.
they were telling him, come over.
Slowing back down again, behind all the traffic, he is not, if history is any indicator, he is not going to try to drive around that traffic. He's just going to wait. This is, you know.
Oh, wait, yeah, well, he's trying to make
This
his
is like,
way
you know,
around it.
putting off what you don't want to do, you know.
Yeah. So we talked about the only erratic move he's made. Well, watch the video on the right-hand side there. He basically drives over the center median. There he goes.
Yep.
Makes a U-turn. His own U-turn. There, and that's about the only traffic violation that he's had.
I know.
Because he's gone the speed limit most of the time and paid attention to the signs and the lights and.
Just took a left. Let me go back to my map and see if we can follow where that left was. He pulled a U-turn, so he probably did he take a left on Sherman? Yeah, took a left on Sherman.
Okay, he's driving in circles. Clearly not sure what he's going to do at this point. Clearly.
Oh no, there's no game. There's no game
nothing.
plan
It's just
here.
there's none.
No.
He's trying to figure out what he wants to do with it, perhaps. I don't know, but.
As we come up on the quarter hour, this is Jeff Michael along with Sharon Tay in the CBS 2 News studios, along as we simulcast on KCAL 9. We have been watching a pursuit for close to, I'd say, 45 minutes, almost an hour now, that has been exclusively in the San Fernando Valley, started in North Hollywood, and went all the way out to Woodland Hills, almost got into Ventura County, got off, came back, and is now back right where he started. Yeah. And then there's the issue of the initial report with the gun.
Right, the gun. And we're not sure whether this car was stolen because it has paper plates. And we have just, the driver just passed Fulton. Again, this area looks like businesses, more businesses than residential.
Yeah, it's an industrial and business area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not a lot of traffic on the roads.
He's going to come up again to the freeway. Last time he came up to this freeway, he drove over it. I thought it was, I really did think it was the other way around. But anyway, he drove over it, stopping at a light, going through the light again. You've got to believe the LAPD knows where this car came from, has talked to the person who said the man has a gun. That gives, if that's the case, then they would maybe have his name. That's what they want. They want to know as much about him as they can. They want to know if he has any kids.
Yeah.
You know, you start using that information in order to help the person or make the person believe that you're concerned. And it also helps the LAPD know what this person has on the line. Now he has stopped in a position identical to this 5 or 6 times now, almost always in the center of the road. Mm-hmm. Wait, is that his hand hanging out? Or is that not a rearview mirror?
That's just a rearview mirror.
And then he waits. He has waited for as long as up to a minute, minute and a half, and that was the last time, Sharon, when we thought, okay, maybe this is over.
It's over, but it's not.
No, and then he pulled away again.
I'm wondering, and I'm thinking that maybe that he's talking to the officers, and you know, when the negotiations don't go his way, he just decides to take off. That's the reason for the stop, but hard to say. Hard to say.
Well, at this point, I mean, the officers, if there is any communication, they're telling him, hey, look, all we want to do is talk to you. And that's very possibly true. Yeah, we may write you a ticket, but this is not worth it. Whatever you got going on, what you're doing now is not worth it. You're only making things worse. Stop, get out, You know, we'll come up to you and we're not going to manhandle you or hurt you if there is communication.
You know, at pauses like this, they could, I'm thinking, I'm not an LAPD officer, but I'm thinking they could look ahead and lay down a spike strip somewhere, right?
Well, but he can't, the problem is it has to be far enough ahead that the driver can't see it happening. So he's at an intersection, so let's say they move up a block and a half, they throw out a spike strip. And by the way, they very well may have. Many times we just didn't see it. And then he decides to take a right, you know. In this case, they have enough time to throw one out on Sherman Way and throw one out on Whitsitt, just in case he takes a right.
Okay, he is.
What?
The reason why we blurted out is because he's, let's just say, greeted the officers with a gesture.
Oh, okay. Well, I hadn't seen that.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
that's a gesture that we can't show on TV.
No, but that's really important information because that goes to, you know, what he's thinking. So, okay, he doesn't want to get along. No. All right. You don't get along with people that you show that sign to.
Yeah.
That was a good catch by our producers and our editors because it gives you more information as far as what police think they're dealing with. You're looking at I'm not timing this.
It's like a standoff.
Yeah, I mean it is. I'm not. You know, I haven't timed all these stops because it's really just trivia. But this is the longest period of time now, compared to last time, where he has stopped and not continued to go. You're looking on the right side of the screen. That was about 10 minutes ago. It's the only illegal thing that he's really done, going over a raised median to head back the direction he's been. He is in North Hollywood. He is on Sherman Way. He is facing the 170 freeway, if I have my bearings right. And he has pretty much closed down that city block.
Oh, you see all the cars
all those cars are being diverted. They really have to worry, not so much about where our helicopter showed behind him. They really have to worry about what's in front of him, because if they're forced to open fire,
there he goes.
There he goes. Then you always look, what is behind the subject I have to open fire on? And he's off again at almost a record slow speed.
I don't understand why they can't put police officers way ahead of him.
The man with the gun. The man with the gun call means you want to stay behind him. You don't want to be in front of him. I mean, heck, they could have actually, when he was stopped, surrounded him for that matter. But you don't want to put yourself in the line of fire. And
it looks like a shopping mall to the right. Oh no, we decided to avoid that. Stay on the road. There is traffic ahead of him? Okay, we can't see that, but apparently there is.
I think there's a
lot of traffic.
Starbucks coming up on his right.
And they're all moving over?
Well, if the LAPD is using its sirens at all, they'll sometimes chirp their sirens just to not keep them on, and that alerts the other drivers, move over. Although, even when you have a fire engine behind you, half the time in Southern California, people don't know they're supposed to pull to the right.
No, they don't. I'm always surprised.
Crazy. All right, stays parked in the first lane. That looks to be another intersection he's coming up to. Deciding, am I going to go left? Am I going to go right? And I think he keeps a margin from the cars in front of him because he doesn't want to be pinned in. But then again, there have been times where he's just, been in a line of traffic like everybody else.
Wait. What's he doing? Oh, he's
waved. That was the second time he waved out.
That was a gesture, yeah.
He has the window down. He's putting one hand up. Oh, and I think he's using that same sign.
The same gesture?
Yeah, the same gesture that we blurred out the last time.
Yeah.
And then, he could be he could be saying, "Leave me alone." There's also the possibility. I mean, and this is what happens when you watch these broadcasts, and we try to report as best we can from all of our experience on what could happen and, what the LAPD might do. He still may be despondent. This may be a guy who's threatening to harm himself, in which case the officers don't want that to happen either. So
Okay.
Are you getting something?
Yeah, well, I'm just being told, our producer's telling me that the intersection that we're looking at on the left-hand side is the corner of Coldwater and Sherman Way.
Oh, okay, so I was a little bit ahead of
yeah,
myself. All right.
So we're right there. Oh, look, the door's open.
Okay, good.
Finally, this is a good sign.
Hands up.
are up.
Officers are now going to tell them to back up. They're going to tell them to lie down on the ground.
Oh, this is
And then,
good. This is good.
Now you're going to, he has nothing in his hands.
It doesn't look like it.
So what they're going to do, you're going to watch a number of officers, usually it's anywhere between 4 and 5, swarm him. And you think to yourself, well, wait a minute, he's not doing anything. Why do they have to treat him so? That's their policy. That's how the arrest is made. One officer puts his knee on the legs or on one leg, another officer on another leg. Officers grab the arms, make sure he can't do anything, then they will handcuff him.
Then they will go through the vehicle.
Then they do what's called clearing the vehicle, right? Clear the car, because they want to say, hey, did this guy leave a gun in here? We didn't see him throw anything out. So the officer you see on the top of the screen with the shotgun, he's going to be the cover. They'll designate a couple of the police officers to holster their weapons and then go up so they can make an arrest. Make sure he doesn't look like he's causing any problems. Sure doesn't seem to be. And then it should all be over.
We hope.
Exactly. And there's the approach. So you have the officers
right.
with cover.
Four officers there.
Yeah, and in this case, they're going to the officers are going to clear the van first because they want to make sure nobody's in the van that could fire on them while they're making the arrest. And that was actually this is one of the most calm arrests I've seen. One officer handcuffing him, nobody holding the legs down. He's not putting up a fight. The officer's opening trying to get into the other side of the car.
Here, this has been a calm pursuit altogether.
I'll tell you what, this is
the driver has gone. It paid attention to the speed limits. It's for the most part paid attention to the traffic signs and the lights, except for that illegal U-turn he made. But for the most part, it's been pretty calm.
All right, for all of you watching us on KCAL 9, we are going to return you to your program. We thank you for joining our coverage of this pursuit. For those of you watching us on
This has been a KCAL 9 News special report. We now return to our regularly scheduled program.
Every 4 to 6 weeks, so that